How you doing, Ralphy here, Ralfy Customs, and my new best friend, look. Your black eye. Right, we're back on this rigid Dyna. Let's get the engine set up on the bench, etc. I'll run you through how I've set it up and how I hold it in place, and we'll go from there. Righto, here we are on the bench. Still got the strap on for now. Work smarter, not harder. Can't pick that up. So engine and gearbox are bolted together. The headstock is in place, just like you've seen me do multiple times. I've run a line through the centre of the headstock to the bottom of the frame, which is the jig there in this case. Yeah, we've worked out the length and we've worked out the angle. We've got 34 degrees of rake as it happens. I usually go 35, but we've got quite a short front end. So 34, it'll still look a bit chopper, man. And gives us the height that we need on the frame. Yeah, I reckon. Got to double check. From my records and whatnot, I know that I want this gap here, so that's not a problem. Again, we've just kicked that front end out about an inch because it's belt drive, it's fixed length at the back. We can't make it any longer this way. Yeah, belt won't fit, so we gained an inch at the back. Sorry, at the front, if that makes sense. That's how we work out where the headstock goes. The engine, we put a bar through the rear engine mount, which is the swing arm mount on the standard bike, and we use this to get a level off this way. Yeah, so make sure it's square, and we measure off these lugs down to the edge of the table to see that it's in the middle. That's what we've done, and we've measured from the back of the bench to the centre of that bar to make sure that it's fucking square that way. So we're in the middle, we're plumb, and we're square to the table. What I need to do is just check the belt clearance once we get the pillbox on, make sure the belt's going to line up. We know we want, wherever I've written it down, you probably can't see it, 1/2 inch from the axle plate to the edge of the pulley. So we want to make sure that works, but they only have a 40mm belt, and this pulley's a lot wider than that, so we've got a little bit of playroom. And then I make these little bridges, these sprags look supports. So there's a bit of angle iron on a bit of plate that's wedged under the motor, and that keeps it level. And then we put a cap on it to stop it moving this way. Same at the back. And when we go around the other side, because it's held quite firm, like it's not really going to go anywhere, we do the same. Again, you can't really see, look, this one here. So we get a bit of angle iron. I need to space that up on a bit of plate, like, just so it's firm, and then we weld that to the bench and can't go anywhere. These are great for holding on because you've got a big flat sump. Not flat, square-sided sump, so you can get brackets on, stop it moving. That'll have it left and right. And forward, that one goes forward, and not sure about the back. We might put something on the back. We need to measure off the back wheel 13 3/4 to see where the wheel's going to come, to see how much room we've got for a box section that we're going to need here to take this back loop off and these engine mounts off. They're quite monumental, they are. So yeah, if any of that made any sense, that's how we've reached this point. I'll get those pillboxes on, and we'll check, we'll get a bit of string across from the front pulley to the rear pulley and see if 1/2 inch in, it's square. Yeah, it's running parallel. And then Bob's your answer. We're all sorted, ready to start putting tube and box and engine mounts in. If you see me, if you look through my playlist, you'll see the M8, the Milwaukee 8 that I did a rigid on not so long back. I'm going to adopt the same policy for these engine mounts. So we had Isambard, Kingdom Bruno, we're shouting as loud as we can, like, Brian Blessed's big voice, on the rear mount, fucking grabbing it, because that's where most of the action is, like, with the drive being here. On the bottom mount, we're being firm but fair on the front mount, sorry, firm but fair, so not as heavy duty as them, but proper meaning it still, yep. And on the top head steader, which is normally, I've got it on the bench, a rose joint, because these are rubber mounted, so it's a rose joint just to keep this true, stop it fucking shaking side to side. We're gonna be nice and kind, you know, because these aren't designed to take a proper solid head steader, and I'm not 100% whether they just use the same as on everything. They probably do, but that's my ethic. So we'll grab that firm, we'll fucking hold that tight, and we'll go Billy Big Bollocks on the back there for the engine mounts. Okay, pay attention 007. Right, this for me is the hardest part. People say all the time, why don't you make a fixture that the engine drops on or bolts on or whatever, that you can then skate about where you want on your bench, but they're all different, man. You know what I mean? I have a fucking roof full of fixtures that I've only ever used once, so I don't. I do it like I showed with the fucking sprags and brackets and, not brackets, packers. Packers, Kerry Packers, yeah. And then what I've done is I've got it first and foremost, so the belt lines up, and that's where the edge of the pulley comes, and the back wheels in comparison to these. So I put a straight edge off the edge of this pulley, ran it along, bob's your auntie, everyone's happy. And I need to make sure it's square. So, like I say, well, I said in the last segment, I believe, it's a couple of hours later for me, so bear with. We measure back from here to the bench, get it the same. We put a angle finder, zero angle finder on the bench, and then put it on here, make sure it's zero. Put a square up there, make sure it's square. And then I measure, again, I put a straight edge across here, and I measure up from the edge of the bench to the straight edge, both ends. So, just as a sanity check to make sure that we're not fucking, this ain't right on the piss or something, you know what I mean? It all dives in lovely. So, that, I'll strip that out, clean all the shit off the fucking bench, but that is jigged up. There's the rear axle plates, that's 8 1/4 up, with 13 1/4. I'm not reading it right. Rear wheel weight is 12 3/4 minus 4 4/4 ground clearance gives us that 8 1/2, which is what that is. That's at 8 1/2 off the bench. If I'm talking gibberish, please excuse me. It's about time for my morning coffee. And the headstock set, how we said, that all fits through. So we've got 1 inch more ground clearance at the front than we have at the back. Just about 5 inch here and 4 inch at the back. So when you're going along, that moves up and down and sits level. Everything lines up. We've got a decent gap here. We're sorted. Ready to start laying tube, more or less. Right. So with everything cleared away, more or less, we've laid out, mocked in the bottom rails. There is a slight issue. Let me zoom out so it's not so jerky. There you go. I know this one's to trust miss. I've done loads of these. 95mm from the edge, I'm happy with. It clears everything, it don't hang out. That's good. This side, I'm waiting for the inner primary. So, I normally work to the inner primary because they're a funny shape and you need to thread this rail through. So I've guessed, all I've done is guessed at 110. Right, which is not ideal. What I normally do then is measure for a bit of box section across the back there, put the box in and tack it to the bench, and then I've got a solid foundation. It'll grow from there, like Odd Bod Junior. So I'm a bit stalled out, to be fair. I don't want to guess this and then it's too short and I've welded it in and I've got to fucking twat it off the bench and all that. I ain't doing that. So what I've done, I've got the bender in, set up, ready to rock and roll. I've done myself a cut list, yeah. So I'm gonna, these are all over length, apart from that box, which I'm not sure about. I'll probably leave that until I've got the cover. But I'll get these rails cut. I've had a good guess. Got the ones for where the wheel is at the bottom, the front loop ones. And you'll see there's a mix of 24 inches, 1,500mm. I don't know why I threw that 1,500mm in there, but there it is, like, so we're all right with that. I'll get those cut and await that inner primary, I guess. Although I could fucking make a start. I could bend these up and have them running through, because they're going to go where they're going to go regardless of that. So I could do that. I could also get the backbone in, although it's a bit arse about face for me, so we'll see.
Don't forget, folks, our Fuckstock stickers are now available in our Etsy store, link in the description below. Fuckstock, you know it makes sense.
Right, so what we've ended up with is a frame in kit form, look. We've got all the rails. Excuse me, I'm just looking for something. We've worked out all the rails and cut them too long, and we've worked out where the bends are going to be and allowed ourselves a bit of a guesstimation, because it's not the easiest thing to map out where this bend needs to go and what angle it is. We're going 700 from the end and 70 degrees, which with my split rule and my cheater. I'll show you my cheater, look, if you're interested. This is a bit of inch, oh, it's not my cheater, hold on, bear with. Here's my fucking cheater right in front of my nose, look. So 4 inches from the end, the bends start, and they're inches, yeah? And these marks are degrees, so I can count those off. I can go 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, etc. And I can see how many inches of tube it takes to get from there to there where the bend is. And then I can measure off to where I need to be. So that's what I've done. I know the backbone's coming here and it needs a kink in it. I've already offered that up, and it don't want to be straight. It wants to kink from here down towards the seat rails. So we've marked that, and we'll do that. We'll slice that and bend it and weld it up, because I can't bend that. And so on and so forth with the other rails. There's the bottom rails for the bottom wheel, where the bottom wheel goes. They're bent at 90. We're going to do a U, much like Andy's Milwaukee 8, as I mentioned. These are the ones that can be trickiest. So I'll probably do those first. I'll just show you what I do, look. So I mark where it wants to be, and I mark on 70 degrees as a fucking reminder, because I forget my bollocks if they weren't in a bag. And then I put a straight line, just put the marker pen and move it along the bench to give myself a bit of a straight line, and I'll line that up with the top of the former. So I can always put it back in the same place. Yeah, so we're on that line, back of the former. So on and so forth. I suppose really I better finish my coffee and then fucking get my big boy pants on and bend them rails to 70 degrees. They worked out lovely, look, I reckon. Maybe snug them back a bit more, but we're going to be getting close to this, and we don't want to be, do we? You know, we have come out, the front's come out a couple of inches to give it a better stance, like. So, yeah, that worked out great. But fuck me, I forgot how hard that shit is to bend. Yeah, right, what I'll do off camera, I'll do the two seat, the bottom wheel, back wheel rails, they form a U. They're joined together where the box section is that I can't cut yet. But we can pre-bend them to 90 off camera. So we're continuing on with the frame in kit form, available at no, I'm joking. Right, oh, fuck me, I'm bollocks. 90 degree bends ain't easy. You have to really fucking clamp the fucking tube down before you start to form it, otherwise this creeps in the former and squishes out. So I've had 3 goes to make those 2. There we go, so there's the front rails. There's the back rails. I think next on the order of operations, we're going to start and get the backbone in. That's what we're going to fucking do. We can do the backbone and the seat rails, can't we? Without knowing where this has got to go and where the box has got to go. We can do the top off the frame to a degree. So we've got this backbone. We know where it wants to kick in it. We'll offer it up first. And regular readers will know my method. So we offer it up where it wants to go. We see it's got a bit of a chunk of a fucking gap there, look. So we slice the top out, shove it up and go from there. Right, so with that suitably cut and given a quick fettle, we can see that it sits quite nicely. Look, if we just lift that up, and then we're going to kick it down from where that pen mark is, yeah, towards the back end. So we'll give ourselves a finger or two's gap, and I'll cut that. I'll just, like I said, I can't fucking bend this shit. So what I'll do is I'll cut a little slice out, put a kink in it, and test it for angles and all that malarkey and go from there. Righto, if you can see what I can see, then this straight string, well, a straight line straight down the middle of that top tube, backbone, and with that kink that I've just made, it does follow a nice line. It's not going to be exactly pointing at where the seat rails are going to terminate. There'll be another slight step in the seat rails, but that's absolutely fine. I don't want to go any lower on the motor because it's got to come in and out and shit, you know what I mean? You might want to take the head off or the rocker box or something where it's still in the frame, so we'll give ourselves a bit of room, and I think that'll be absolutely fine. So I'll get that tacked on there. I'll tack this joint up as well, and then we're onto the seat rails. Right, we've marked out for those seat rails, yeah. Sorry about a shaky camera. I've got to get an updated phone or something. We've gone 8 inches back, which is where the bend's going to start in these rails that you can't see. And I know that they need to come to this point. I've measured up the width of the axle. There's a centre line at 12 3/4, I think it is. It might be 12.5. Can't remember now. But we know that the outside of the frame rail needs to follow this line and fuck off that way. And then it will be cut for where the backbone is. There'll be an equally distant one there and going off that way. So we've done our fucking mapping out and worked out that it's nearer 35 degrees, Ralfy, not 45 degrees. So that wasn't a good guess. We'll get one in and bend it and offer it up and see how it looks. Right, these are well long, by the way. They were 39 or something on the shelf, and I want them a lot shorter than that, well, quite a bit shorter. But you can see 35 degrees, look. If you look along there, that follows the bench. It fucks off where I've marked it, and it comes to the termination point right at the end of the tube. So I can cut that off straight there. We're up too far off from the backbone. Let's put it down. There you go, like fucking so. Now, what we need to do is mark it for meeting that. We need to slice it off there, and that, I can't film myself fucking holding that level. So it needs to go about there. I'll put a mark up the top where I want it to start, ish, and I will trace a line parallel to the bench, or well, parallel to the pillbox fucking doodah, for a slice, like so. It'll drop down. So we'll angle it slightly, if that makes sense. We won't follow the shape exactly, because this tube's going to drop down. Yeah, it's not going straight down, it's pivoting from this point. So we'll trace that, but we'll have too much of a gap. We'll angle it down a little bit. Too much of a gap at the back or too little at the front, whichever way you want it, so it drops down nicely, in theory. And ta-da, there they go. Seat rails are in. Sit lovely. I've had the angle finder on them, 24.2 degrees each or something like that, so we won't have any of that half a degree out nonsense. If you know, you know. I'm only joking. I'm not joking, I've measured it like. So without this primary, we can't decide where this rail goes properly, because we need to find a path through the primary. Without that, we can't work out the length of the box section that's got to sit behind the engine, that the uprights are going to come off. And the U that will go to the rear wheel. There's a U going in there. I could make the U. I could mock up a bit of box so we could shape this one, get this one in. Couldn't I? Just tack a bit of box on where this one's going to be here. Don't fucking worry about that bit, like, and that'll give me a datum, something to work from, I guess. Yeah, fuck it, why not? So I've dummied in a fucking bit of box just to see where we're at here, and I'm going to make this bottom loop. I'm not going to be able to fix it, but I've had a sanity check with that bit of box and it's going to fit. Right, so what we've got these two L shapes that I made, these two 90s, and from there to there is 9 3/8. So together they are Team Rocket, no, 18 3/4, right? Now we want 12 3/4, which is 6 inch less. So we divide that by 2 and we've got 3 inch off the end of each one, and when they join up they'll fit the fucking axle plate just peachy. So I'll get and chop that off in the chop saw, and then we need to make a fucking slug, so we'll be over to the lathe for a bit. As is customary for these jobs, we'll have a bit of handsaw action, just give it a squirt. I cut some massive bright round, not massive, 75mm or whatever, bright bar. It's a hydraulic rod, I should say, when I was making the last set of head stocks. And it's not done the blade that much good, but we're still getting there, right? Still getting there. Not ready to change it yet. I know. I'll be this 32mm or 30mm, whatever it is. On that in a minute. Flat bar. Ooh, tightened up. Give it a quick test cut. Give it a quick clean up. See where we're at. It's not quite clean. So 3 inches long, and it wants to be 27.5mm on the outside, and about 22 down the middle, just to make a sleeve to join those two bits. So we are at 29.22 out there. It's 30mm, isn't it? 29.27. Sorry, I'm not showing you very well. I'll take that. I'm happy with that. So X 29.27, enter, and we want 27.5, don't we? Which is going to be one single cut. Come on, somewhere around there. Hold on, there. Bang on, 27.500. We were cutting that, and it's just jumped. There we go. And away she goes, Captain. We'll get that machine down to the chuck. She's had a fucking red hot chip bounce off my forehead, as if it's not had enough shit this fucking week. So we'll get the outside of that machine down, I'll flip it round, do the other end light, off camera, and you can join me when we're putting it all through the middle and chamfering the end. So that's spun round and machine down. You can do the usual. In with the fucking centre drill to start off with, just peck away at it, steady like that. My fucking tail starts sliding back a bit. You know what we need, don't you, boys? Exactly. Fucking exactly. Look at that, whipping into that now. Beautiful. And in with a 10mm pilot hole, which I won't make you watch, but that's going to go all the way through. So I'll just work that steady, pull it out and give it a dab, whack it back in every now and again, like, and work that through. Now we're in with the big boy. It's a 22. It's not 22, it's Imperial. It's 21 point something. But we'll be okay at that. Nice and steady. Plenty of lube. Right, actually, I'd say speed it up a bit, but I'm happy with that. So we'll just take that out, and then we've got a chamfer to put on it. What do you want to? Right, the eagle-eyed amongst you will notice two things. One, the water's on, because it is, and two, we've sped it up a bit, because we have. So I'm hoping, if my calculations are correct, I'm just about to break through. Yeah, and that's it. Happy days. Put that off out of the way then, and get on and do some chamfer. Here we go then, in with the chamfer tool. Just nip it up, hold on. I just want a nice healthy fucking one of them lot. Happy days. Well, put that shit off and break that edge. With my new tool that I'm really happy with. Mango 2. Shaviv. I'm guessing. So it works. Happy days. So that will now join the two odds, not two odd, is it? Of that U together to the bottom rails to go to the back wheel light. Like fucking so, if that magnet will hold it, but it won't. It's not filming very good, is it? There you go, like that. And then we've got a little bit of fucking wiggle room. Bear with. We're at 12 3/4 outside. So we're looking about a little bit more than that. We'll square it all up before we weld it. In fact, what we'll do, we'll do it in 2 halves. We'll fit it to the bike in its 2 separate pieces. We'll fit one side first, and then the other side's a lot easier that way. So yeah, we're gonna get there, aren't we? Sorted. So that's it, that bottom U made. I can't trim this off to suit. I don't want to trim this off to suit, I should say, because we're not sure of the thickness, length of this box until we get the other cover. I could start chopping this out and dropping it in, but I've had a long day. Yeah, follow along for the rest of it. I'm done. I'm bidding it. That's been a productive session, that has. So it just leaves me, as always, to say follow along on the next instalment to see it. But thanks for watching. If you like what you see, give me a thumbs up. Consider giving me a sub. Check out all the bumps in the description below. There's merchandise. The Fuck Stock stickers are down there. There's some groovy channels to follow and details on memberships if you would consider it, please. And I'll see you on the next one. Big love, everyone.